Psychotic phenomena are becoming more and more normalized as society inches into fascism. For some, this transition seems slow-moving. For others, it seems rapid and unstoppable. 4% of the American population are now bona fide sociopaths. This means 1 in every 25 people you know is a sociopath, incapable of empathy or authentic emotion or connection. You are nothing more than a commodity to a sociopath, and if you display your empathy or direct kindness unwittingly, they will destroy you. Narcissistic personality traits are popularized due to generations of us growing up on and adapting to social media. Performing for and perfecting your image on your screen is where your self-worth and identity lies, dangling in the balance of popularity versus obscurity. To add to this dark collection of psychosis that rises out of a failed society, Folie deux is another phenomenon that is spreading into an at-risk and vulnerable population. Literally translated as shared psychosis or madness of two, it catches us by surprise and tosses us into a state of paranoia, anxiety, confusion, and distrust of our fellow man. And it was done to us on purpose.
Consumer internet businesses are about exploiting psychology. And that is one where you want to fail fast because people are unpredictable, and so we want to psychologically figure out how to manipulate you as fast as possible and then give you back that dopamine hit. We did that brilliantly at Facebook. Instagram has done it, WhatsApp has done it, Snapchat has done it, Twitter has done it. So there are great examples. WeChat is doing it. There are great examples of failing fast is the right path to exploiting psychology of mass populations of people.
Because the unintended consequences of a network when it grows to 1 billion or 2 billion people, and it literally changes your relationship with society, with each other, with it probably interferes with productivity in weird ways. God only knows what it's doing to our children's brains. If the thought process that went into building these applications, Facebook being the first of them to really understand it, that thought process was all about how do we consume as much of your time and conscious attention as possible. And that means that we need to sort of give you a little dopamine hit every once in a while because someone liked or commented on a photo or a post or whatever. And that's going to get you to contribute more content, and that's going to get you, more likes and comments. I mean, it's a social validation feedback loop that it's like it's exactly the kind of thing that a hacker like myself would come up with, because you're exploiting a vulnerability in human psychology. And I think that the inventors, creators, and it's me, it's Mark, it's the Kevin Systrom at Instagram, it's all of these people, understood this consciously, and we did it anyway.
I think we all knew in the back of our minds, even though we feigned this whole line of like there probably aren't any really bad unintended consequences. I think in the back, deep recesses of our minds, we kind of knew something bad could happen. But I think the way we defined it was not like this. It literally is a point now where I think we have created tools that are ripping apart the social fabric of how society works. That is truly where we are.
In order to understand Folie, deux, you have to go back a bit. In this scene, Dr. Heinz Lehmann counsels a mother and daughter who demonstrate the symptoms of this shared psychosis, which induces their insanity and increases the daughter's hysteria. They seem to feed off each other. In cases of Folie à deux, there is always a leader or alpha character, and in this case you can see that that role is taken on by the daughter, then communicated to the mother. The daughter expresses a number of grandiose delusions and delusions of persecution, which ideas the mother accepts as reality.
A gun, a gangster. The police know. Well, they know they're looking for him because he's done something everyone could see with a gun. He killed someone. But these people are dangerous. They can kill people at a distance. I don't know how they do it. I really mean it. If they did it, if they hurt me with a gun, or I can tell the police, then nothing would happen. I don't know how to tell, but they can hurt people. Honestly, they know how.
But they haven't got guns.
They haven't got guns. That's just it. It's worse if they haven't got a gun. Everybody would believe me when I tell them. Because a gangster, the police know. They can't find a gangster. They know he had a gun. They have something on him. But what can you do with people that they haven't got guns and yet they know how to hurt people at a distance?
They're hurting you or your mother?
They hurt me. I'm perfectly healthy. Only time when they hurt me, there's nothing wrong with me.
They absolutely they make us sick.
You're being hurt, or is it only your daughter?
Yeah, me too.
Who is hurting you?
I don't know. Soon I go.
When this study was done over 50 years ago, the United States had systems and safety nets in place to treat patients who suffered from paranoid, delusional disorders like Folie à deux. However, during the Reagan administration, all those safety nets were defunded, and the mentally ill were criminalized instead of treated. This is a colossal failure to the United States citizenry, as mental illness is now considered criminal, and the mentally ill are incarcerated instead of treated for their illness.
Yeah, like somebody standing close to me in take
Choking
me like this. Sometimes it press my heart. I can't breathe it. Why? I go to bed, I eat my supper, in I perfect health. Soon I fall
I know
asleep.
I'm perfect health. I can prove that I'm in perfect health. They can hurt people, they can get pains, and they can take the pains away when they stop it.
Yes.
But why do they do it?
Well, I mean, they must, I don't know, maybe they're blackmailing other people, so they're hurt through me. They're doing it for, they're afraid of being caught, so they're doing it in that manner. And maybe they do things, they want me to, they know how to do things at a distance. For instance, if I'll feel a pain, well, they'll say ahead of time. Well, it'll match with their story. They're trying to fit in
like
something.
magic.
I don't know the whole
Like
story.
magic,
They're
I
trying
don't know
to
what
fit
that
things
is.
together.
Like magic?
Yeah,
They're trying to fit things together.
Yes.
They want
I can swear. I
want
go
to
in the
accomplish
court
a purpose,
for
and they
judges.
try to
I
fit
go in
things.
the synagogue and I swear and I tell the whole story what
They're
I
trying
know.
to
But
fit
you
it.
have felt
They
it
have
only
a
after your
purpose.
daughter felt it. You
Well,
haven't felt it before.
Yeah,
It's
at
only-
times, not all the time,
No,
at times.
yes.
At times. They try to have a purpose, and they're trying to fit in things into their purpose. They want to force people to get into their way, to do exactly. They should prove that they're right, and actually they're framing to get there.
Ursula and Sabine Eriksson are Swedish sisters who had lived apart with separate lives in different countries in their adult life and decided to meet to take a trip through England together. Once together, their shared psychosis took over. They suddenly became paranoid and disruptive on the cross-country bus they were traveling in. They were so disruptive, and their psychotic episodes were becoming so uncontrollable, the driver eventually had to have them escorted off the bus. While waiting to be taken by police to their destination, without warning, one sister ran into traffic on purpose, and then the other sister did the exact same thing. Together, their shared psychosis seemed to feed and grow off each other. It seems that over the years there has been a slow move to exploit folie à deux, as we normalize fascism, as a way to control society by taking away the mental health programs which could treat this illness. We have to ask who benefits, as this shared psychosis remains untreated and largely undiagnosed. In fact, even in my research, I found very little online that talked about the illness from a societal perspective. Most of what I found were YouTube channels, more interested in the shock and gore around the horror stories of folie à deux, rather than how the illness has seeped into the margins of society. But could it be used to weaponize society against itself? We can't ignore the fact that in every case of folie à deux, there is always a target. Most of the targets have their lives completely upended, or they wind up dead. I was even the target of a pair of women in San Francisco who shared this psychosis. Why is it that some areas of the country seem prone to these psychological disorders, often normalized or even encouraged in society, and others don't? It feels as if certain areas of the country are being used as test balloons to see how far to the breaking point innocent people can be pushed before they snap. Stanley Milgram, an American social psychologist, was famous for his experiments on obedience in American society. He conducted something called the street corner experiment.
We are all individuals, but we live in a world with other people, and we must often accommodate to them. To what extent can we remain individuals in a social world? What kinds of pressures do others exert on us to conform? And how do we deal with such pressures? How can social psychology study the issues of independence and conformity? This ordinary street scene is actually an experiment in social influence. The experimenters wanted to see whether the proportion of passers-by who imitated a crowd would increase with the size of the crowd. And so they set up groups ranging from 1 to 15 people standing in the street looking up. As they increased the size of the initial crowd, they found that the proportion of passers-by who imitated the looking up response also increased.
Who benefits from this transition into mass delusion? To what end is the population being inducted into this mass form of madness? And why? How far will it go? We know that fear is the means to control and gaslight. Fear is also the weapon used to suspend our understanding of everything, from physics to critical thought, to the science of nature, or the physiological and psychological aspects of ourselves. Has autonomy been replaced with groupthink? Will the orchestrated madness of many, which is done to us on purpose, force us to demand our own premature death? Will the suspension of our autonomous thoughts force us to repeatedly espouse the programmed responses pummeled into us at every turn? If folie à deux targets one, will folie en masse target the many? And who or what are they?
Thank you for watching. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. If you really like our work, you can help support us on a regular basis by going to patreon.com/bookofhours. For as little as $2 a month, you can sustain us and keep us working. You can also make a one-time donation at paypal.me/bookofhours. Thank you.